Hi, my name is Meredith and I teach yoga and meditation in San Francisco, California. Whenever I teach meditation, one of the hardest things seems to be finding a seat that's comfortable and sustainable. So today I'm going to share 3 ways that I have found helpful to sit during meditation. The first one is sitting up on a blanket or a cushion. The second one is using a blocks and sitting more on the shins. And the third way is just to sit in a chair. So I'll start with a cushion, and again, you can use a nice cushion like this as a Samaya cushion, or you can use a couple blankets or a pillow, whatever you have at your house. And the thing is, you want the hip bones higher than the knees, and this is true for all the seats that we're going to come through. So once you come onto your blanket or your cushion, you can kind of tuck one ankle in, and then the other one will come in front. Yeah, and if you kind of come to the edge of the cushion or the blanket, maybe the knees start to ground, right? You can see my hip bones are higher than the knees, which is going to keep my spine really long. If the knees are not grounded, and even if they can be grounded, so sometimes I even like to do this. If the knees are up and you have a block or some books, or if you have a blanket, you can roll a blanket in a log and kind of stuff it underneath each knee. And so the hip bones are still higher than the knees, but there's some support here, right? The knees still have a sense of grounding, and then you use the ground to sit nice and tall. Yeah, if you have these blocks, these are Manduka cork blocks. They have different heights. So depending on how flexible your hips are, you could find a level that works for your body. So this is sitting on a cushion or a blanket. It's one of my preferred ways to sit. Another option, if the hips are super tight and this just doesn't feel good in the body, you could try sitting on the shins. And what that looks like, again, I'm going to use this cork block. It's a little bit soft, and I find it really comfortable to sit on. But you can also use a book if you have a book at your house or some sort of block-like thing. You'll bring the knees together, you'll be on the shins, separate the heels apart, and bring the block in between the heels of the feet. And you can kind of hug the feet in around the block. So again, you can see the hip bones are higher than the knees are grounded. Again, I use the ground to sit tall. So the third option, I'm going to offer simply sitting in a chair. And you can practice meditation wherever you are, and a chair is really nice to take a moment or two and practice meditation, whether at your office or you're commuting, in a bus or Uber or wherever you are. Or if the sitting postures don't feel good in your body. Yeah, you can just find a chair. And preferably one that when you sit in the chair, the soles of the feet come and ground into the earth. And stools are really nice because you're not tempted to lean back. So if you do sit in a chair, a normal chair with a back, that's totally fine, but just come to the edge of the chair, right? So you're using some of your back muscles to sit tall, and the soles of the feet ground down. Yeah, the hands can just rest on the thighs or the knees here, and you can practice in a chair. And so people always ask me about the hands, especially if you're starting out. The hands can be wherever is comfortable. So that can be on the thighs, right? That could also be down towards the ankles. And palms facing up kind of invites a little bit of receiving energy. You can feel some lightness through the palms of the hands. The palms facing down are more grounding. If you feel like very anxious, like the energy is getting splayed all over, the mind's thinking about all these things, then I recommend palms facing down and connecting into the earth. A lot of people ask me about sitting crisscross, right, with the knees up. And you can try this out. For me, it feels a little bit unsustainable because I feel like my muscles are kind of working to hold the knees up. If the knees are away from the ground, that's when I would recommend putting a prop, right? So I'm using these blocks here, but you could use whatever is at your house, pillows or blankets, kind of stuff them underneath so that the knees can relax, the legs go heavy towards the ground, and then all these muscles, the hip flexors and the psoas, right, all these muscles here can soften, right? So then it makes it more sustainable. You're sitting through the sitting bones, and there's a little bit of work through the upper back. You're using some of the back muscles to sit tall and to keep the spine really long and energized. Sometimes I feel this, and I know a lot of my students feel that wherever they're sitting, if they're on the ground sometimes, that one leg or maybe both legs go tingly, or even they start to go numb, which is common. It's pretty common, especially if you're new to this practice. One of the things that may be from is having the knees higher than the hips. So as a general rule, wherever you're sitting, you want the hips higher than the knees, right? And even if you're having a comfortable seat where the hips are still higher than the knees, you may still experience some tingling. Again, this is not unusual. Finding some elevation, maybe you need to get higher. You could put more blankets and get higher up, which could be helpful. Or that's where the yoga comes in, right? So yoga, asana, this word that we're familiar with, it means seat. And nowadays it kind of refers to all the yoga poses and the postures and the vinyasa and the moving around. And that system was really designed to clean the body, to strengthen the body, to open the hips up to maintain this seat. So if you're experiencing tingling or sensation, recognize that as something that's okay. And maybe just do a little bit of movement, right? Do some yoga before or after the seated practice. So the tingling is okay. Sit with it if you can. If it gets really uncomfortable, you could try changing one leg in front of the other, whichever leg is in front, or you could even change your position. You could come onto the shins. Usually if you're on the shins with the block between the heels, usually the tingling will stop. But as you get more comfortable in the seat, and as the circulation is moving good through the body because you're doing yoga or running or whatever sort of movement that you practice, that tingling should start to go away. Thank you for tuning in. I hope one of these seats or all of these seats are helpful and supportive for your meditation practice. If you're in San Francisco, come practice with me at Yoga Garden. I teach a meditation class there every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And you can tune into my new podcast. It's called Sit With. It's a meditation and contemplation podcast, and you can find all the info to that at my website, spiritwellness.net. Namaste.